Now, a 73-year-old woman, supposedly a grandma, was sentenced to 15 years in prison for this particular reason that I will be sharing in this very content as we progress. Meanwhile, this should never be the case of anyone very close to you, anyone distant from you in terms of your employee, your nanny, your help, anyone working for you in diaspora. Every one of us traveled to Obodo Yibo. We are all here. Let me say 95% of those of us in the Western world, we came in with good intentions and never ever envisaging anything evil to come to us. And then we traveled from Africa to this place, packaging some of the practices, some of the cultural practices, our beliefs and ideology in Africa to the Western world. Sometimes we need to put off, these baggages. We need to put away some of this culture, not entirely. We put them in our pockets, but do not zip them, as they are still very much valuable, but not particularly acceptable to be practiced in the Western world. Therefore, put them in your pocket, but do not zip them up. This is what I say. Now, this is the story of a 73-year-old woman who was sentenced for 15 years in prison. By the time this woman would finish serving this jail term, she probably would be 90 years, 73 plus 15. Do the calculation and see how many years she got, by the time she's done serving this jail term. So what exactly was the case of this grandma? Well, Oluremi Adeleyi, a 73-year-old grandma, was a living nanny, a grandma from my own country, Nigeria. Yes, she was a living nanny to the family at Prince George's County, Maryland. She was found guilty of a second-degree murder, a first-degree child abuse, and a first-degree murder. She was charged for a murder of an 8-month-old baby she was looking after. So what really happened? What really led to this incident, to the death of this 8-month-old child? Did she outrightly or silence this baby on purpose? Here is the case. Here is what happened in this situation. According to the police reports, the surveillance camera in the house recorded or reviewed the moment this grandma tried to feed this baby, but the baby didn't eat. The baby refused to have her milk. And what did she do? She pulled out the baby from the walker, carrying the baby, and then removed the nipples of the feeding bottle. A feeding bottle usually have something like a nipple. She removed it and tried to force feed her. Yes. This was the particular incident that the camera captured. The camera also captured this grandma, pouring 8 ounces of milk just within 30 seconds down the throat of this baby. Essentially, according to the statement, drowning her. But look at this other video here. A video of a mom trying to feed her little one. To we the Africans, to we the Nigerians, I have seen this among the Ghanaians. They do the same. This does not mean drowning a child to us. We are only trying to help our babies eat, feed, because sometimes it can be really annoying when you make food for your little one and the child refuses to eat, and you try to apply the alternative way, which is the cultural means of feeding in your area. But then, have I ever done this with my little boy? No, I never tried this, and I would never do that. Imagine, oh my God, covering the boys, and then how would this child breathe? If I may ask, how would the child be able to breathe? It will be a difficult thing. It's like suffocating a child, But most of our mothers, our aunties, they do this. Now, if you have someone coming for Omogo, your Adane, your auntie, do not let them attempt this. They actually meant well for this little one, just like this woman claimed in the courts. She pleaded guilty and then pleaded that she never had an intention of silencing this little baby she was looking after. Her intention was to make the baby eat. Yes, even the camera revealed that she never maltreated the little one, but then it was a kind of making the baby choke. Remember the incident that happened in UK? That was around 2010. The moment I arrived in the UK, it was a Ghanaian nurse. I will find her name and put it here. A nurse in London that was arrested because she was force feeding her baby and her baby got choked and passed. Yes, she also had other two children, but this particular one, the last baby, passed. It wasn't her intention to silence her baby, but this accident happened. This might be happening in Africa. Possibly people might be successful feeding their baby this way, but in the Western world, in diaspora, inside Obodo, it is called force feeding. Feeding baby against their desire, against a baby doesn't want to eat, and you were trying to force that food through the baby's throat. It's called force feeding. Do not allow your grandma who comes here on Omugo to try this on your little one. Do not allow anyone helping you to look after your baby. Bringing in this. This was also the case that happened. No, in the case of Mrs. Chatterjee versus Snowway, it wasn't really force feeding because she was just using her hand to feed her baby, but they tagged that force feeding. I don't know, but this one, we do this in different ways. And when it comes to massaging a child, this is another thing we should look at. Massaging a newborn baby in this country. When you bring your grandma, your aunties to do this, they should cautiously do that. Massage this little one so that it wouldn't have any problems at all. Because if anything should happen to this little baby, the charges they would bring against your auntie, your grandma, your own mommy, you wouldn't like it. By the time they take them to the court and start expatiating, analyzing the action. Now look at this. Right in the courts, Oluremi Adeleyi, the 73-year-old grandma, actually testified in the court in her statement that she was feeding this baby that passed, in attempts to make the baby not go hungry, which was apparently a good intention. Yes, she didn't want the baby to go hungry. But then she claimed it was a custom, a practice in her home country, Nigeria, which is actually the truth. But did the judge actually believe her? Did the judge truly accepted this, her practice or culture in her country, as an appropriate way of feeding a child that refuses to eat? Now, this is exactly what the judge had to say before he passed his sentence. Despite all other witnesses, who came to testify or stand for this grandma to say that this is a practice in our home country, this is what the judge, how he passed the sentence on Oluremi. While I don't find the defendant is an evil-intentioned baby slayer, I also don't find her actions were accidents. This was before the judge passed sentence on this particular woman, and the judge also said for the fact that she unscrewed the baby's feeding bottle and poured in nearly 8 ounces of baby's milk down her throat within 30 seconds. This is where they found her guilty, that was a forced feeding, and not only that, it was an act of trying to choke a baby. So on this very channel now, we do not only share stories about happenings, oddities in Obodo Oyibo, we also bring lessons and also a kind of pre-warning, a kind of pre-information to those of us who are new to Obodo Oyibo, Australia, Canada, US, anywhere in Europe. You see, one of these incidences, this very particular incident, happened in the United States of Obodo Oyibo, America. And the other one, that of a nurse, despite her profession, they didn't bother. That nurse in the UK in 2011 was also jailed for 3 years. A lot of Ghanaian women in the UK, they demonstrated in London. I think they reduced the woman's sentence because they believe that, yes, this was a practice in Ghana and the woman never meant, the nurse in particular, never meant to kill her own baby. So in this very case of 73-year-old woman that was jailed in the States, I don't know if you know about this very story. Let us know if they later freed this woman, or is she still serving this sentence, because she was jailed in 2019. 2019 was just about 3 years back, 3 to 4 years back. Is she still in jail, or did they later release her? So this is just an eye-opener to those of us who are new, who do not know all these things, who might want to carry on practicing all these things we do, who might want to carry on exercising all these practices on our children in abroad. Another thing that is not allowed is circumcision. I mean, circumcising your girl child is prohibited in the UK. I don't know about the States. I don't know about Obodo Yibo. I think it is no longer allowed in Nigeria, but a lot of parents still do that. I think I need my own back, because I think this thing they cut off from me is still affecting me now. Where is my mom? They should give me back my stuff. But a lot of our parents, they still do it. Some of our parents here, or some mothers here, they do take their children back home to get private services. But these things are not great, to be honest with you. I must confess, I'm a woman. This thing that affects me, they chop off my own and they look for them. Anyone that knows where they threw my own should get it back and fix it back. So these are the practices that are not allowed. Don't say because you do it in your country, it might not be acceptable in the society where you are. Shine your eyes and do not fall a victim of had I known. Yes. Thank you a million for watching this. Subscribe to my channel if you are new here. Like this video, it's very important, and keep coming for more. Bye for now.